One of the things you don't see very often is a box, especially when it's for the Murphy base station. And although it's the its top lid, it's got the inserts. Now whether or not it's because of mic, looks a bit nicotined on the front. We'll probably run that through our dishwasher. So, put it down to its box. Oh. Wow, the factory original dinky mic. Wow. Don't often see that. Of course, I've said before this was the CBH1500 was the transportable Spirit 40F, and that's why the little dinky mic would be more suited to a transportable. So when we went on that road trip to Nottingham, we were asked to call in on a radio ham acquaintance. He wanted to give us this, and he wants us to service it and to sell it to raise funds for the repeater GB3GR. So this was his late father's Murphy base station. So the gentleman in question does use our repeater. He lives at Nottingham. It enables him to talk to his friend at the coast near Skegness, and obviously he gets lots of pleasure from that, and he wants to help us in that quest. So there we go. So yes, it has been a bit nicotined at some time. We need to take all the screws out of this because we're going to do the capacitors in the power supply. As you know, these all hum. Always did hum. But we've recently been not only changing the capacitors in the power supply, but we've also been uprating one from 1000 microfarads to 2200 microfarads. You look at any other power supply, and that's what they are going to put in it. So I think they were being a bit stingy putting 1000 microfarads, and I'm not surprised it hums. So we'll be doing that to this. We'll do the service on the bench power supply, and then we'll pop this on eBay as requested for the reason requested. Don't think it's that many months ago we did one of these. Seems to be quite a lot of them around. I didn't see that. That's quite clean actually, but we'll still put it through the dishwasher. So it says Spirit, which it is. But we usually get 4 watts out of these. They usually work quite well. Rare the meters ever work. I mean, at the time these were put together, that kind of meter must have cost all of £1.99. And you know, it's as cheap meters go, and they haven't stood the test of time. As you know, there's the 2 meters, one for SWR, one for S and RF. And yeah, right. 1 in 5 working at all. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't go back in time and order a pile of spares from Taiwan. I can't even read the serial number. I'm trying to read the serial number. 0007 B0007 30. Because we're selling this, I'll actually note that. So no reason to suspect this isn't working, but it all needs servicing. I think these came out 1982, 1983. They weren't in the first wave because somebody's put a 6.3mm socket there on the back, so that's not original. I wonder if that's for an extension speaker. So that's something these don't have. Not that we have 6.3mm adapters here, with the extension speaker sockets usually being 3.5mm mono jacks. That said, or is it external power? We'll find out, won't we? That said, those grandstand base stations and grandstand Gemini and the Atron version and the Telecoms version of that Suruga chassis use 2-pin DINs in line with what most people would use in Europe. I think if we could take the knobs off, just get the whole thing in the dishwasher. When I was doing my apprenticeship in church pipe organ restoration, Mr. Groves, my boss, he used to call me Bert. Why do you call me Bert, Mr. Groves? Well, Bert was the worst apprentice we ever had, and you're next. I don't think that was true, but he was like that. But if they couldn't undo something, they'd say, "Oh, get Bert's fingers onto it." And I think being a church organist playing mechanical action, usually heavy going organs, I have that strength advantage in my fingers. That's come off nicely. We'll get that in the dishwasher. You've got it. This isn't a removable plastic on here. It's this film is the finish, so you don't want to be removing the film or you'll end up taking half the letters off. I'll get those in the dishwasher, put the knobs in there as well, and then we'll get on with the job proper. Okay, so we've got it hooked up. What I've done is disconnect the power supply, and what we're going to do is connect our bench power supply where that would be, and we'll rebuild the power supply later. So 13.8 volts, we're powered up, it's on 19. Oh, it's difficult to change that without the knobs on. Dirty squelch control. Turn the power back off. May have to take those off, may have to replace those, we'll see how it goes. That seems alright. So we're connected to the test gear 2779125. RF gain's dirty too. Okay, so we'll connect our SINAD meter, which this looks to be connected to extension speaker. Yep. Okay, let's go through transmit first. Let's put picture in picture on. Right, I think we're on low power. When I find out which switch does what. Okay, well, I'm getting a tenth of a watt and it's dropping off. And high low power's not making any difference, whichever one it is. Got any deviation? Wallow. 1 2 1 2 wallow. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Actually, see whether it's transmitting. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2 1 2. Testing 1 2 1 2 1 2. No transmitted audio. Well, that's pretty poorly, isn't it? I might start with our standard replacement mic, just so we eliminate things like mic snags. That's not a standard mic. Murphy. It's unique. Okay, well, back to the mic it came with. Worry about no transmitted audio later. 1 2 1 2. So what we can see is the frequency. Show you that. 2779106. So we'll bring that up. On these sets it's a coil, which is actually a better arrangement. I'm not going to go mad because the test gear is still warming up. Right, let's bring that down a fraction. Let's see where we are. Sounds a bit harsh. .8 microvolts. .10 dB. 1.7 microvolts. .20. You can't do 20. Squelch. Maximum is 1 millivolt, and threshold is 3 microvolts. The S meter actually works. And it's 3 millivolts for S9. The RF meter, we're not going to get a reading because it's not really doing any RF. I think we'll just do the detector first because it just seems absolutely way out. Look at the oscilloscope. We will find it. Camera 3, isn't it? Just have a look at this IF as well while we're at it. Turn the sensitivity, turn the signal down. We'll look at the detector again. Now and get a peak. So without going any further than doing the detection IF, we're now down at 1.3 microvolts, whereas we're at 2.8 before. And let's see whether it actually does 20 now. It does. 20 dB, is there at 3 microvolts. So obviously that was a big issue. Must have sounded really, really garbled. Actually, we may as well carry on and do the front end. I'm doing this all topsy-turvy. That was spot on. That wasn't. Can't remember whether that one's transmitted or received. We'll find out. Doesn't seem to be affecting receive. Okay, I've made some notes. Let's see if we can do something with the transmitter. So we're not sure about that one. I can't see the writing to say what it is. At least the thing is screen printed, but we can see we've got 9, 10, 11. So just see whether we can get a peek. So that clearly has got a peak. It's that one that's out, isn't it? I'll just see whether that does affect it. No, it must be something else. So at the moment we're doing what? Well, on the 3 watt scale, we're doing 300 milliwatts. Aha! Now we're on full power. Well, now we'll start again. There she blows. Actually just over 4 watts at that. Wow, that was out of kilter, wasn't it? That core's broken. See whether we can remove it. Oh, this isn't scrap, but and this here. These are those which are used in the cybernet sets. It wants to be higher up than that. Well, to save time at this point, we've done a brand new microphone which is wired especially for this, and it's a unique pinout. It's like Uniden but with transmit and audio transposed. So, voila, 1 2 1 2. Best thing now is to do the deviation, which of course I've fiddled with, so we've got no idea what it was set at before. So I'll plug into the test set behind me. I've changed the capacitor there, 1000 microfarads, uprated the 2200 to 2200, 1000, done those two, and I've forgotten to do that one. They're 100 microfarads at 25 volts each. So I'm not quite ready to reinstate the power supply. Right, let's see what my deviation is going to be a bit high. Wow, it is a bit high, it's 5. Wow. There we go, 6.5 peak. See what the Marconi test set says. Will it be 1? Will it be 10? Who knows? Wow, it's reading low today. Good, that's another thing done. So there was no TX, and it's now 2.2 with a 2.5 peak. Won't be doing the PSU. See if we tilt it up and show the RF meter. And we said it was VR. Did we say it was VR3? We said it was VR4. Already forgotten where this is. I think we'll be doing a photo. I always think I'll never see another one. VR1. VR4, it's that one. Or better go to full power. Well, it's the wrong meter then, isn't it? The wrong preset then, isn't it? Okay, well it's VR4. Of course, there could be 2 VR4s, couldn't there, just as spiders? VR1, we know this is squelch, so that's VR2. I'm doing the wrong one. VR what? Yes, that one up there, like I thought it was. Yeah. Right. Go back to full power. There we go. That's that set. Now we need to put S9 on the signal generator. Set that for S9, which is VR1. I was a bit tight fiddling before, and I've not fiddled with it, as you know. Out of interest, does the SWR meter work? That's your set. Yeah, so it's 1 to 1. Well, you know, the number of these sets where the meters still work, especially both meters, is incredible. I don't know whether the meter lamps were too bright. This one's certainly the right brightness. I mean, this has seen service before, of course, and that might have been altered. So that's now correct, and that's now correct. The switches actually work. The sockets, what sockets? So that brings us to the receiver performance. So we did ascertain that this is T12. Because I took all the wires out so that I could find it. T11, T12 is there. I think What does it look like it does? Very early part of receive anyway. One of these controls on the front is delta 2, which doesn't help us. Let's see if we can get a reading, because I did the receiver at the beginning. Let's see if we can get a reading off the receiver. So it's pretty lousy as it came. It needs to be under 1 microvolt. I've got the instruction book printed off. I'll include that with the set when we sell it. Let's go to the main meter. No, we won't. We'll do it this way. I'm no longer connected to the test gear. That's better. It is. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fiddle with delta 2 for best signal. I didn't do that when I did, because I forgot it had delta 2. I didn't do that at the beginning, so it will have been slightly better. Possibly. I don't know, because it was well out, wasn't it, on the detector and the IF? Ridiculously well out. We've now got 0.42. It's very good. Remember how ropey the sine wave was with S9 when we set the detector? 0.35. I can't understand why it's was so bad. I mean, if his dad had it, unless it's been really fiddled with by somebody. Let's have a look at squelch. So we'll look at, we'll do full squelch. So that's 100 microvolts. I want this squelch to open at that. Bearing in mind I've been fiddling with the preset. Of course, may not open where I want it to. No, it's not going to do that. It nearly did, didn't it? In fact, of course, the preset could be dirty. So it's definitely the squelch preset. We'll have it at absolute maximum sensitivity. It's one of these sets which will never open at full. But it did before I'd serviced it, so that's not nice. Just off camera, I've just gone down the IF again, having gone through that. I've just just check that those IF stages here again. Just see whether we've got squelch working better. So that's full squelch. Yes. Good. I'm going to check these two. .44. Yep. Squelch to full. 3, 10, 30, 100. Up we go. It's coarser than I'd like, but it does at least open now, and it's 4.5 millivolts. Now I'll do the sensitivity test. So, got the test set. I'll show you the attenuator instead of the SINAD meter. Got that on standby at 0.3 of a microvolt. Put the squelch to threshold on the radio. Very carefully, of course. Switch the signal generator back on. We're nearly in then, is it? It's 1 microvolt. A bit of backwards and forwards thing on this, but we're there. We've got this received from 2.8 microvolts down to 0.42, and we've got the sensitivity down on the squelch. So, got the meters calibrated to S9. Anything else may be totally haywire. There we go. I think that is everything. I've no idea what have we no idea? That, haven't we? No idea. We're not fiddling with that. We've not fiddled with that. Trouble is, there's no number. I just wonder, looking at the circuit, it doesn't have an adjustable low power. Where's low power? It's there. I suspect that's going to be something to do with the SWR meter. I think the next thing, we'll start putting it together, change that capacitor and reinstate the power supply. Right, so I've put the final capacitor in the power supply, done a photo and a chart for once, and we can find a screwdriver. We'll open up this mains plug, which is a safe one. Two amp fuse, even better. So plug it in and set up the power supply. Subject to there being enough mains lead. .1. If we can just hook one in, there we go. Adjust the power supply. Try it at 13.7, see whether we've got 4 watts. Just go over to the main meter so you can see this at the same time. Make sure we're on full power. we've got 4 watts. It's either going to hum less or not at all. So we've got the front and knobs back from the dishwasher. It's a bit smarter. Yes, it would be nice to remove that, wouldn't it? I'll put the channel knob back on, that's easy. See where the pointer is. Don't do that. Don't go on the floor. It did. Goodness knows where the other one went. I think it's probably in the dishwasher, having managed to float out of the cutlery thing. Well, that's it. All we need to do is put it together. Oh, right. Well, we're back on this. It'd be great if I had a clipboard, wouldn't it? It's highlighter pen time. Was squelch that one, yep. So we like to do receiving green. Things like the VCO, which are common to transmit and receive, in yellow. So I've got the frequency control there. I think that's all we've got for yellow. And then we'll do, is this pink or is it supposed to be red? Shouldn't ever have to touch that one. It's, oh no, that was just, I can't remember now. Yeah, T12 is part of transmit, yeah. And that was our meter. And that was deviation. I think that's to do with the SWR meter. Goodness knows what that is. Probably found out before and I've forgotten. Right, that's it. So we'll get some bits put together.